Hello and welcome back to End the Slant. My name is Brady and today I am joined with Alex and Dustin. We're recording this on Friday at 8:30. Today we're going to be previewing everything AFC West. We've been going with these divisional predictions and today we're on to the AFC West. But before we go any further, how are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm good as well.
So to acknowledge the elephant in the room, we have changed the setup once again. So if you guys like it, let us know down in the comment section below. Before we go any further in this episode, if you guys could drop a like and subscribe if you're new around here, that would be greatly appreciated. But where do you guys want to start with the AFC West? Because if you guys watched last episode, you guys know we did things a little bit different. So I guess I'll just go ahead and start. Even though I just asked you guys, I'm going to go ahead and decide anyway. I don't know why I asked. But we're going to start with some of the news and training camp things. Now, I don't have a whole lot to talk about here before we go into some of the other things we're going to talk about. But obviously, the big things are like, Josh Jacobs and Chris Jones, the holdouts on their contracts. And then, when will they get paid? Who knows? The Raiders signed a former Chiefs running back today and Damian Williams. Does that mean anything for Josh Jacobs going forward? I doubt it, but hey, it's out there if you really think about it. And then another report that we got today was the Raiders defense was absolutely just intercepting Brock Purdy in a joint practice with the 49ers.
Whoa, no, okay, not just Brock Purdy. He did intercept Brock Purdy twice.
Oh, okay, my bad.
He threw an interception on 11 on 11 and then one on 7 on 7.
Okay. So how do you feel? How do you feel about everything coming out of Raiders?
So like honestly, I can't lie as a fan that our defense, especially our secondary, has been fucking ass for years. So just have a defense that hopefully can turn the ball over. Marcus Peters has been doing his thing. He's definitely looking at the cornerback one. So it's looking like he's even getting back into his own little space. So I think this year our secondary will actually be super good. Can't really talk about our D-line yet because, we still got our front is bad. But hopefully the secondary can hold it down and not get burnt at the end of games all the time now.
Are you worried about Damian Williams coming to the team? Is that a bad time for
Josh
Jacobs?
He's not even going to be the starter, even if he does.
Is he going to make the roster?
Who, Williams?
Yeah, Damian Williams?
He was not going to make the roster.
You don't think so? I was just like, it's, when you read between the lines, does that mean anything for Josh Jacobs? Is he going to come back to the team eventually? And do you think about that? Because Kareem Hunt's also still out there visiting teams as well. Like he visited the Vikings today. Imagine if he were to visit the Raiders next.
Man, go back to the AFC West.
That'd
play his former team, one of his former teams.
Hey, I wouldn't mind a little Zamir White, Kareem Hunt duo in the backfield. But
hey, that's a good duo.
But other than that, we can move on. That was like the only thing I had, unless you guys heard anything else. I haven't really heard much about, obviously Quentin Johnston's been impressive. We've heard things about that. And then for the Broncos, they're going to be starting their starters tonight. Unfortunately, that game has not started for us, which is why we're not going to be talking about what they look like. But next episode, maybe we get into that. We'll see. But let's just go ahead and move on to the next topic. We introduced this in the last episode, and we're going to keep going with it. And today, or not today, but going forward, we're going to have a fantasy segment. So, Dustin, if you want to go ahead and take the floor here to lead this fantasy segment, that'd be awesome.
We'll do it like we did in the last episode. Just like we'll start with the big dogs that we don't have to really say much about. This time, I'm going to do a little bit different. Out of all these guys' names, I want you guys to pick your favorite and least favorite, or maybe not least favorite, but like the guy
you would not draft first. Yeah, I got you.
So Austin Eckler, obviously Travis Kelce, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Mike Williams, and then I did throw Javonte Williams out there. I don't know if I'm missing anybody else as the big dogs, but a lot of the guys I feel like are still trying to prove themselves. So that's why there's a lot more underdogs for me than there are like big dogs. Javonte, I really didn't want to throw as a big dog, but I kind of just had to put him there. Probably my least favorite would probably be, honestly, Mike Williams, especially like with what Brady brought up with the Quentin Johnson news. And then, obviously, my favorite probably has to be the touchdown machine and Austin Eckler. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, I'd piggyback off that. I think definitely if you want to take the safest route in this draft with that list right there, I would say your best bet is Austin Eckler. But to say he went off the board first, I would definitely get Travis Kelce. And it might be a kind of a crazy scenario that I would say I'd maybe pick Patrick Mahomes before all these players because Patrick Mahomes is going to get you at least 20 a game. It's a very safe bet to pick Patrick Mahomes. If you have a chance to pick Patrick, third round and he's there and you already got 2 first good picks, I'd do it in my opinion.
If Mahomes falls around 3, I mean, he's some
people take
some
him
people reach round one and
one,
Me and Brady
two.
and Brady have seen him one. Me and Brady have seen him like
Yeah, I've
beginning
seen
of
him go
second
1-0.
round.
I mean, you can't take him too seriously, but I've seen him go the 101 in some mock drafts. It's been
Yeah.
I feel like the most like average pick for him is like usually like the start of the second round because people just always want a quarterback. That's usually when I see Patrick Mahomes goes like right at the start of the second.
my least favorite on the list, and it might be wild, is Keenan Allen. For some reason, I don't even have any hate towards Keenan Allen, but I guess I'm just worried about him going to this year just because of last year, and it just feels like I don't know. There's just something about Keenan Allen that I'm not sure I'm in love with this year, and there's no like actual reason behind it. It's just a gut feeling I guess I have. It would be Keenan Allen. And one of my favorites, because it's such an advantage, is getting Travis Kelce. I mean, Kelce is like on a tier of his own. Now, unfortunately, you do have to spend a first-round pick in order to get him, obviously. If he falls in round 2, you hammer that home all day, obviously.
For sure.
But, yeah, I mean, Kelce is just a mismatch for any tight end. Even if someone has Mark Andrews, Kelce, I think, is still in, like, a tier of his own just because of how electric that Chiefs offense is. And Kelce is pretty much the wide receiver 1 in Kansas City.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Pretty much.
And something with Keenan is when you look at his production, there's been a major dip throughout the last couple years. And obviously it's going to worry anyone that's drafting fantasy or anyone who's just a LA Chargers fan. But obviously Keenan Allen has intangibles to keep doing what he's doing, and his route running ability is amazing. But you're just taking a big risk with drafting him early.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get him round 3, round 4, I mean, that's where he's been kind of going, maybe even round 5. I'm just not sure I want to take Keenan Allen this year.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that just doesn't want to.
I agree.
Unless if I can, like, stack him with Justin Herbert, then maybe.
So would you are you more in favor of drafting Keenan Allen or Mike Williams? Because I feel like Quentin Johnson is literally like Mike Williams. Like the role he's going to be playing for that team. Like, they're the same size, like, all of that. So I feel like Quentin Johnson is literally the new Mike Williams for that team. That's the only reason I feel like I would trust Keenan Allen a little bit more.
I feel like I would trust. Well, I mean, in PPR format, which is what we play, I think Keenan Allen is a safe bet. But for the touchdown upside, I think I like the idea of Mike Williams just because
for sure.
Obviously, Herbert's going to take a lot more deep shots to Mike Williams, 50-50 balls. Keenan Allen's not really ever been that guy where he is downfield and they're just throwing him the ball up top. He's more of the guys one of the guys that get like more of a possession wide receiver that gets you like the first down on the short sticks or whatever. But he's been, obviously he's really elite at that. So it's not like I'm dogging on Keenan Allen by any means. That's just been his role. But yeah, I mean, I feel like for the touchdown upside, I think I'd rather have Mike Williams. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling about it.
I mean, you guys both agree. I mean, I don't disagree, but I just trust Keenan Allen a little bit more because I feel like with Mike Williams, especially even without Quentin Johnson, I feel like he did have like Mike Williams is kind of like that Tyler Lockett for me. Where like he would randomly have like huge games, and then like other games he was just like throwing your whole like that week's game because he dropped you like 8 points randomly.
I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, but remember Mike Williams was on just like an absolute run where he had like 20 plus for like I don't know, it felt like 6 straight weeks, and then he just like fell off the face of the earth.
Dude, because I remember the guy that had Mike Williams that year literally had Keenan Allen too or something. And like I remember he traded one of them, but I can't remember exactly. But
yeah, I briefly remember that. But I'd bet on Mike Williams for the Chargers offense. Chiefs offense, obviously, Mahomes, Kelce. If you can find a way in your league to stack those two, you're going to have to spend high draft capital to get them. But
that's definitely a first and second if you're going to try to do that.
That's going to be such a huge advantage, just those two alone. So I guarantee you we'll have someone in our league trying to do that. He's a big Chiefs fan, so I wouldn't be surprised if he went that way with his draft, but we'll see. But yeah, I think, obviously, we're probably going to move on, so I'm not going to keep going.
Yeah.
So the next thing was underdogs, right?
Yeah, we'll do underdogs. So your sleepers can be on here because I wanted you guys to both pick one sleeper pick for the AFC West. I'm going to go through this list first. My sleeper pick, I'm just going to skip on here even though I have him as an underdog. But obviously, Isaiah Pacheco, I really don't count as an underdog, but he's a guy that hasn't, to me, proven himself yet, so I can't put him as a big dog. Jared McKinnon, a touchdown machine. Sky Moore, MVS. And then you got Greg Dulcich, Cortland Sutton, P. Ryan, Quentin Johnson, Everett, and then Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Michael Mayer, Zamir White, if Jacobs, the whole Jacobs thing, how that tosses out. Because with Jacobs out, Zamir White has been the number one, so that's something. Aiden O'Connell, just because Jimmy G is, you can't trust Jimmy G, and obviously if Jimmy G gets hurt, it's not going to be Brian Hoyer, or at least
dude. I don't know.
At least
Brian
I fucking
Hoyer.
hope it's not.
I think it'll be Brian Hoyer.
But dude, I saw some reports that even the 49ers, like reporters were like complimenting Aiden O'Connell like in the joint practices. So.
Maybe the hype is real.
And then the last guy on my list, because I didn't want to put him on there, but I texted Brady earlier about how it was disrespectful. Russell Wilson, obviously, I had to put him.
Wait. Did you put Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton on any of these?
Yeah,
big dogs.
Big dogs, and Cortland Sutton was underdog.
Okay.
Yeah, no. As far as the Broncos offense is concerned, because that's the next one for fantasy, I expect a huge bounce back from the Broncos offense this year. So Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Jerry Judy's actually still going decently high in some drafts, like right around the 4th round. But I think if you can get, if you want to take that chance on Russell Wilson, he goes late. He was obviously terrible last year. I would understand why if you didn't want to give him a chance this year. I'm not sure if I'm going to go out and do that. Like, I think I have some confidence in him being better than last year. I don't think it could get any worse. Hopefully not anyway. And then Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy both have their injury concerns. And then another guy, Marvin Mims, with Tim Patrick getting hurt. And then KJ Hamler, I believe, has also had
That's going to be my sleeper.
Yeah,
Actually, Marvin Mims. So.
If Hamler is ready, then he's someone you can look at as well. But yeah, I think Marvin Mims, if he gets slotted into like a slot role on day one, that could be an interesting guy to get late in the draft for this AFC West division.
Yeah, and I think when I looked it up today, that right now he is sitting at the wide receiver 3. I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't know much about him, but one of our Broncos fans told me, because I was like talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, what's a sleeper for the AFC West?
Mims.
Obviously, you can say a Bronco player, and he said Mims. And I actually went by and like looked at tape. He was dusting people a lot. Yeah, he was taking the congested catches too. So like. Both the things that you want in a wide receiver, it seemed like he's doing. He could get the separation you liked, but he could also make the congested catches and like prove that he's still a dog. Like I saw one where he like had his hand out like this, it like bounced off the defender, and like he caught it with one hand, still like with his hand on the defender. So he's looking. That's gonna be my sleeper for the underdog is gonna be Marvin Mims. I think honestly, like I'm still iffy on Cortland Sutton. I think Jerry Jeudy's gonna be the number 1, obviously there. But Cortland Sutton or Marvin Mims, I think, is going to be the number 2, and I'm honestly hoping by the end of the season, like, honestly, beginning of the season, it will probably be Cortland Sutton. But I think by mid to late season, you could easily see Marvin Mims being the true number 2 there.
As far as the Chiefs offense, as I said, Kelsey and Mahomes are the guys, but there's a lot of wide receivers on that team. Juju is now not on this roster anymore. Of course, Kadarius Toney has his health issues. There's been a lot of hype about Justin Ross. Sky Moore, of course, is still there. Marquez Valdes-Scantling's the deep ball threat. Out of all 3 of those wide receivers, who do you guys like the most as someone you would draft? Just where they all go pretty late.
They're
all going pretty late.
They're all going to go late, but I kind of forgot about Justin Ross. He was a touchdown machine at Clemson. I would take a big chance on him like later in the rounds, but just to be on the safe bet with even all 4 of these quarterbacks in the division, the one team that I would key most for later rounds for like sleeper weapons is the Chiefs all day of the week. Patrick Mahomes is going to find a way to get these guys the ball. And I know MVS only had 2 touchdowns last year. I'm pretty sure it's only 2 touchdowns. But that's right now who I would gamble on really late in the round, just because I feel like Patrick Mahomes is going to target him so much more. The chemistry is going to be there, and there's going to be more trust.
I think that MVS is definitely the safest pick, just because like I feel like he's the guy that you've seen, like he's proven the most.
Yeah.
But all the training camp buzz that I've heard the most about is I've been hearing a lot about Sky Moore too, though.
Yeah, Sky Moore and Justin
Ross. So I would probably go the Sky Moore route just because it's the second year. So I think his in Patrick Mahomes' chemistry will be a little bit better. But honestly, I if you could draft like a couple wide receivers late for the Chiefs, I would and just take it like you said, like Brady likes Justin Ross. Like if I could take Justin Ross and Sky Moore late, and then just like whatever one proves to be like the number 1, just take them. Yeah, like I can see myself doing that.
Kadarius Toney?
I don't like him. He can't stay healthy.
No love for Kadarius Toney?
No.
The man he just can't seem to ever stay healthy. Unfortunately, already hurt right now as we speak. I feel like though, do you gamble? He goes a little bit earlier than the other two guys we were talking about. I don't even know if MVS gets drafted. He's such a forgotten name. But Kadarius Toney, I think, is like right around, don't quote me on this, but it's 9th, 10th round or something along the lines of that. You want to push the draft button on Kadarius Toney this year?
Nope.
I would if I was in a desperate measure. I just all the stuff he said about Giants fans that weren't antagonizing him.
So just for the biased view of a Giants fan, you're like, I ain't drafted him.
It's not so much being biased. It's like he just trashed every single Giants fan when I was happy for him when he left, but I'd smash that draft button if I had to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like where Kadarius Toney goes at, like Brady said, like he pretty sure it's the 9th, 10th round, but like, because I think Brady is right. He goes a little bit before like all the other Chiefs receivers. So like usually around there, like there's so many like rookie wide receivers or like sophomore wide receivers that go late that like I'd rather just pick up over Kadarius Toney in my opinion.
Isaiah Pacheco though, do you think he's a little overhyped, or do you believe in the hype on where he's going?
I can't. Okay, if we're talking about like in real life, like actually playing on the field, I think he could turn up a little bit. But the issue for me is like, unless he's getting the touchdowns, but he has a touchdown machine literally that gets all the touchdowns. So like, that's like the only thing I'm iffy with Isaiah Pacheco. I don't like, dude. Some people have been telling me that they're gonna draft him super high. Please do not do that. He goes at pick like 70, please.
Especially in PPR. If it's standard, I get Pacheco, but I think in points per reception league, I'm not sure I like Pacheco. I mean, the clear passing down back there is Jerick McKinnon. That was clearly obvious, especially towards the end of last year. Pacheco is more that guy that's just going to get the ball and run, in between the tackles. Not really going to be in the receiving game very much. So I am on one of those trains that I might be avoiding Pacheco this
I
year,
think I am too,
because he just goes like in those middle rounds, and I just feel like there's running backs after him that I would just rather have than Pacheco.
And like honestly, like towards like usually when I'm drafting like around that range, I'm kind of usually already done with my running backs, or maybe I'm wanting to add one more. And honestly, if it was me drafting, I would probably draft a wide receiver there usually where Isaiah Pacheco goes, and I would literally try to snipe like Jerick McKinnon like a round or two later, because like I feel like the upside is a little bit higher there, even though like I know a lot of hype is around Isaiah Pacheco right now.
About the Chargers offense, any sleepers in the Chargers offense?
I mean, obviously, I think like I brought up Gerald Everett. I think that's a good tight end.
I was about to say the one that I don't think we've talked about is Gerald Everett. I mean, he came on the scene at the end of or not really at the end, at the beginning of last year. He was an absolute stud in that Chargers offense for the tight end spot. If you needed a tight end in the late rounds, Gerald Everett still goes super late in drafts as well. So especially if you can take like Herbert early and you aren't able to get like Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, and you could target either Quentin Johnson or Gerald Everett in later rounds, I think you could feel really good about that, especially
either or. I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you could draft both, even if you want to bet on the Chargers offense, which I don't think is a terrible bet by any means with Herbert there.
And their O-line's super good.
Yeah, so I think for the Chargers, you have Quentin Johnson, Everett as the clear two sleepers on that roster. I don't know if there's any good running backs behind Austin Eckler. I think he's the clear guy there.
I think it's still Kelly or
I think
which he isn't terrible, but he's definitely not like a.
So I don't know if there's another running back to talk about for the Chargers, because Eckler is clearly the guy there. But moving on to the Raiders offense, obviously Jimmy G will be the man under center. And then we're still, wanting clarity on the Josh Jacobs situation. Something I forgot to mention is that Devontae Adams did get a little bit of an injury today, but it doesn't sound like it's too serious.
It was nothing serious, yeah.
Yeah, so Adams, of course, is the clear stud in Las Vegas, but Jacoby Myers is an interesting guy that you can grab. Renfro's still on the team as well.
I'm not gambling on Renfro.
I was disappointed by Renfro last year.
But he goes so late at the same time. Like, dude, honestly, I've been drafting him as like my very last pick sometimes. Like at my very last pick, I would take a chance on Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, third in Renfrow for a reason.
Yeah, but at the same time, I will admit that Devontae Adams did get injured in that practice. But what's even crazier to me is that Jimmy G cooked and Hunter Renfrow was gone too. So it was literally Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers, and DeAndre Carter from the Chargers out there. That was our three wide receivers after Adams got injured. And we literally cooked the 49ers defense. Like, those three. Not even our, like, obviously one starter probably. Because I don't think Trey Tucker or Carter is going to be starting. But, like, those two are like the, like, I think our depth is really good right now. Like, I like our depth at almost every position except for, like, obviously, like, DTs. I think we need a lot. We need a lot of help on DT. And then, obviously, like, maybe linebacker is, like, another big concern for us. But, like, other than that, I'm pretty confident on everything else. Obviously, I know people dog our O-line, but our O-line, I think, is going to prove to be a lot more solid than they have been.
Let's play some Would You Rather in this division. Would you rather draft Quentin Johnson or Sky Moore?
Quentin Johnson.
Ooh. Sky Moore, I
have
to
to hesitate.
I think I would go with Sky Moore as well, just because I feel like Quentin Johnson might still be a little. I mean, he's still going to be in wide receiver 3 sets, I imagine, so he'll still be on the field. But I don't know.
But the
It's
competition
tough, man.
just the
It's a tough
competition
question.
just more there in the Chargers. Like you got to worry about Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. At least Sky Moore, you're like, well, all these receivers are mid, so one of them's gonna take over. So
I got a notification that Emmanuel. I thought they said Russell Wilson, but it's Emmanuel Wilson rushes to the right for 80 yards for a touchdown. I don't even know who Emmanuel Wilson plays for, but shout out to him.
yeah, shout out to
I thought that
Emmanuel
was
Wilson.
Russell Wilson. I'm about to say. I'm about to talk about Russell Wilson rushing for an 80-yard touchdown. That'd be wild. But another one, Russell Wilson or Jimmy Garoppolo.
I had to take Russell Wilson, dude.
I'm going Russell Wilson all day.
Oh, it's tough. That's tough.
It's just the upside of Russell Wilson. Like the upside is definitely higher on Russell Wilson, but I think the floor is a lot lower with Russell Wilson.
I'm gonna
as
go
well.
Russell Wilson as well.
Yeah, I think there's a safe floor with Jimmy G, but
Besides the injury part, that's
yeah,
what
the ceiling of Russ is higher than Jimmy
Golly.
G's.
exactly.
And then I guess my last one would be Isaiah Pacheco or Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams all day. Give it to me. All day.
I think
I'm gonna go Isaiah Pacheco.
yeah, I think I'd lean towards Isaiah Pacheco as well.
But I do like P. Ryan a lot this year, too. If I'm drafting Javonte Williams, I'm trying to get P. Ryan, too, just as a backup.
Get the handcuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to our next thing. That is going to be the biggest questions for this division. What are some of the questions you got for us, Alex? Give us some juicy ones today.
This is what we're gonna start with. I need Brady to pick a number 1 through 4.
I am going to pick number 4 because that was my number when I played basketball back in 3rd grade or whatever it was.
All right, so I guess we're starting off with the Broncos.
Okay, cool.
All right, so one of the first questions I have is, it's pretty obvious. What's Russell Wilson going to do this year? That's the biggest juicy question I have. And then the second one is Sean Payton really going to be what Sean Payton was in New Orleans? Is he going to really turn around this program? Because the defense is there. I will say that. The defense is there. They got arguably the best corner in football. I mean, I wouldn't say best, but definitely top 3, top
He's up
5.
there for sure.
Patrick Surtain. You still got Brandon Gregory at DN. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of names right now, but I just don't feel fully confident what Sean Payton's trying to do for the organization. And he obviously says Russell Wilson has a lot left in the tank. Honestly, I'm not a firm believer of it at all. I do think they have the weapons. I just think it's ultimately going to come down to 2 things: Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And that's really all I have for.
And one
the
more
Denver
thing.
Broncos.
One more thing.
What's the other thing?
The O-line. You gotta, because I think
I think it should be improved this year. They
It should
attacked
be.
it in free agency
Yeah.
like a team should
But-
do.
but
and
also-
that's why it
That's why I'm not-
sucks.
But also you gotta remember those, like, we also expected that with that Bengals that one season, and that just didn't happen.
That's true.
So like that's like another big question for me, because obviously I don't think that you're gonna see Russell Wilson making those same big plays he did back in Seattle, obviously because he's a lot older.
I don't
Why
think.
not?
I just can't
This
see
is
it.
why
I've been on record. I'm gonna say this.
Brady's a Russell Wilson believer.
Wilson bounces back this year. I'm on record saying that.
Okay.
Sean Payton is coming in and he's fixing this Broncos offense. Russell Wilson will be back to the Russell Wilson we all love.
All right, now I'm about to go on record and say that's not gonna happen. And Pete Carroll is the reason Russell Wilson who he was.
All right.
And I'm gonna go on record saying if their O-line can't hold up, you're not gonna see Russell Wilson doing shit.
So you're a firm believer Sean Payton can turn around this situation.
I
Russell
think-
Wilson will have his upside back.
What Sean Payton said was there was some truth to it. Nathaniel Hackett, if you watch those Broncos games, it seemed like the coaching staff had no clue what they were doing. Nathaniel Hackett had no business being a head coach in that very moment for the Broncos.
Brady, I got a question though.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Why the hell did Sean Payton run away when Drew Brees left? You are a coward. You are weak. And then you come back to try to build a team you think's gonna be
Because,
good.
dude,
You are weak.
okay,
He does have a ring though.
he
That is
does
true.
have a championship. But I will say, I think Sean
Why'd you
Payton-
run away? You
Sean
fucking
Payton-
coward.
He ran away when this team had no cap space or no way to address the quarterback position.
But yeah, but they got the cap space down somehow, so he could have done
They
the same
did. They
thing.
somehow pulled it off. But who were they starting last? Who was starting last year for the Saints?
Jameis Winston
No, I don't think it was Winston. It was Andy Dalton, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't
Red
know.
Rifle.
I don't know. Who
They
it
started
was.
Ian Book one game, I think. Yeah, it
Ian
was.
Book.
Do you
Fuck's
blame
Ian.
the man for retiring for a year with that quarterback situation? He's like, I'm staring at my quarterback room. Drew Brees is gone. I'm out, man. I'm out. Yeah, I don't blame Sean. In a way, it does definitely feel. I mean, it just feels like, okay, I'll sit out a year and then someone will trade for me. I'll come back to coaching. There was rumors about him going to the Cowboys. I would have absolutely hated if that happened. I would have been so upset. But thankfully, they're keeping Mike
Cowboys.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
But like I said, Russ. Bronco, Russ Country, let's ride.
Let's ride. All right.
Obviously,
all right.
those are the two biggest questions.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson,
yeah,
what are you
I
going to be
mean-
this year? Sean Payton, are you going to fix this offense?
Yeah. Okay. Pick number 1 through 3.
1.
All right. Chiefs. Okay. Boom, baby. All right,
Say
Dusto,
Chiefs.
your favorite fucking team in the world.
Let's go.
All right.
Chiefs
Honestly,
Nation.
I really just I don't have too much to say on the Chiefs. The first question I really have is with the Chiefs is, what's that defense about to look like this year? You know, we always see the problem with the secondary. We know their front seven is really solid. Chris Jones, a big question right now. I totally understand why Chris Jones is wanting more money and he's holding out. I really don't have much to say about the Chiefs, especially with the offense. I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to keep doing what he's doing. I think Travis Kelce is going to continue to do what he's doing. I don't really have any doubt in the system and the offense. I don't have any doubt with Andy Reid. My biggest question for the whole thing is, what's the defense looking like? What's Chris Jones' situation going to be like? What's the secondary going to look like? Because they're so young. They're a young secondary, and if you look at this AFC West top to bottom, every team has a solid receiving core. Let's just be real now. There's like last year when the Raiders, they were up on the Chiefs 21-7.
Yeah.
I mean that's probably a sore subject for you. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's
But-
not a sore subject because we blew too many of those leads.
I
so.
will say, when I was watching that game, I was like, who are the fucking Kansas City Chiefs right now?
Yeah.
Devontae Adams is just bombing on them. So that's really my major questions with it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any questions with the Chiefs. I really don't have a lot to say
I
about
don't
the
know.
Chiefs.
I agree with what you're saying because I feel like both what you saw in the past years. I'm not just saying this as a biased Raiders fan, but both the Raiders and Chiefs defenses has always been weak, dude. Like whenever we go at it, it's just a high scoring 30-point game because none of our defenses can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like and you brought it up too is all these teams in here have solid wide receiver cores. So you're really gonna have to hold it down in the secondary. That was one of my big concerns. Is obviously the Chiefs don't have an elite wide receiver core, but Patrick Mahomes always gets the job done.
Gets
You
the
know
job
what he's gonna
done.
do. So that's always a big thing. Is I think the secondary is one of the most important positions, especially in this AFC West with all this offensive power. So I think that is literally my biggest concern for them.
Ready for
Literally,
my question?
and the wide receiver core,
Yeah.
obviously.
Is Mahomes a good quarterback, or did Tyreek Hill make him? And that was the question we were all asking last year, which led to Dustin predicting them to be the 3rd seed in the AFC West. And obviously, they went to the Super Bowl. They won it. I have no questions. They're gonna go back to the Super Bowl probably. They're just that good.
I agree. I think there's a good shot they'll go back to the Super Bowl.
Everyone was saying Tyreek Hill's gone. This team's about to be bad now, and that was not the case whatsoever.
So when you look at every Super Bowl they've played, I'm pretty sure the Niners scored 20-some. I know the Bucks scored 31, and then last year the Eagles scored 34.
Something like that.
So in a scenario, it's if the Chiefs get in a position where their offense is some reason getting shut down like the Bucks, it's just really, really, really scary because their defense is not letting I can't think of a game that they've especially deep in the playoffs and the Super Bowl that they've held a team for less than 21 points.
Is that weird that you see not to bring up the Bengals too, but I feel like their secondary was kind of iffy sometimes. So I feel like it's crazy to see that just the two teams are just have a crazy overpowered offense, just can outdo the defense. And they always say defense wins championships, but you see the Bengals and the Chiefs are two of the most hyped teams, and their defenses have definitely been questionable in the past.
Yeah, no, I mean it's just when you have Mahomes and Burrow, it just seems to click. Does not matter what you have on the other side of the ball, unless if there's 13 seconds left in the clock for the Bills.
Mhm.
But other than that, I don't even know where I was going with that. But regardless, I don't have questions for the Chiefs. They're gonna be they're
gonna be there.
They're good, man. It is what it is. I trust me. I loved when the Chiefs got absolutely obliterated by the Bucks in the Super Bowl, and the defense just absolutely shut Mahomes and the Chiefs offense down, and all the Chiefs fans in the world were crying that the refs. It was the refs. It was. I'm like, dude, just accept that Todd Bowles had a great defensive game plan and shut y'all down.
God, dude,
take your L.
Patrick Mahomes had 0 time in the pocket half the time. Oh my god!
Shout out to Todd Bowles for that game. That was one of the best
that was awesome.
defensive coach games I've ever seen. That
for
was
sure.
wild.
And dude, that's another thing too. It's
Peru.
it would be different if it was a couple plays that caused them to lose that game, but that defense dominated the whole game basically. So
Yeah, no question for the Chiefs. What's
So I'm gonna go ahead and just kick it off with the Raiders. I want to say the Chargers for last. I got some juicy stuff for the Chargers. But so the Raiders, man. I mean, obviously secondary, but secondary's been looking pretty solid. So I mean, I'm not go into in depth with that. But obviously, Josh Jacobs holding out situation with that. He's done too much for this franchise to not get his money or at least get 13 mil. And I want to mention with Saquon, I looked at his incentives. Oh my God, if that man rushes and does certain things, he's about to get a lot of money. Okay. But okay. So Jimmy G, man, Jimmy G obviously is a very consistent quarterback throughout his career. Played under Tom Brady, played under Belichick, went to the 49ers, played in the Super Bowl, has made it deep in the playoffs. Just always had injury history. My question is, if Jimmy G stays healthy, will the Raiders be at least a 10 to 11 win team this year? Dusto, I'm sure you have something for that. Brady, I also want to hear your in-depth analysis.
I'll let Brady
on
start
this.
with it. I want to see what Brady
because
starts
okay,
with.
before we go, I personally think if everything just seems to go right for this Raiders organization with Josh Jacobs there, I think they can win 10 games. I
think it's definitely possible. I mean, a lot of people like to point out the fact that Jimmy G is made by Kyle Shanahan, and that's why he's so good. But if you go back and remember, the reason why the 49ers even traded for Jimmy G in the first place is because with Josh McDaniels, while Tom Brady was serving those four-game suspension, Jimmy G was lighting the world on fire.
Yeah.
So he's played under Josh McDaniels before. So
that's why Josh McDaniels wanted him.
Yeah, exactly. The familiarity there is going to be just great for. I think the chemistry is going to be there with those two. I do question and wonder how long Davante Adams will be a Raider. If things don't seem to work out well, because we all know why Davante Adams came to the Raiders in the first place to play with Derek Carr. But other than that, I don't have any issues with Jimmy G with Josh McDaniels. I think that we're going to see the usual Jimmy G we see. He's going to be a game manager. Sometimes he's going to make some bad throws. Sometimes he's going to make some great throws. I hope he's able to get the ball out quickly like he was in San Fran. But I think the Raiders have enough talent to be in the playoffs. I definitely do.
And that's like another big thing, too, going into the season for me is like you did see Derek Carr usually throw like quite a lot interceptions with like to touchdown ratios. And Jimmy G's touchdown and interception ratios have always usually been pretty solid. I know he does have those games really where he throws like a bunch of picks, but usually he's pretty consistent, doesn't throw many picks. And I feel like with all this offensive power that we have, that there's just no way that he can't find an open target. I mean, I just think there's just no way. I think anyone on this team can get open, and as long as like our O-line can hold up. I know that's probably the biggest question mark is our O-line, but I honestly think our O-line's like a bunch of underrated players. Obviously, we already have Colton Miller at left tackle. He's solidified. That dude's a dog. But like everything else is kind of just iffy on our offensive line. But I think this season you're going to really see them do something good this year. And like our offensive line really did turn up towards the end of the season last year, which didn't really matter because we needed it at the beginning of the season.
But you love to see the improvement because Josh Jacobs rushed for so many yards.
Exactly.
He's such a phenomenal football player. And another thing I want to add is like you mentioned something about the interior, the D-line problem, which I don't really know is on the D-line except Max Crosby. And then who don't they have like another white DN?
Chandler Jones.
They have Chandler
Jones still there.
First round.
Tyree Wilson.
So like at the end of the day, dude, like I feel like those three with whoever, do they run a 4-3? They run a 4-3.
Yeah, 4-3.
The Raiders. So dude, honestly, I think the Raiders have a very legitimate shot at being in that second seed spot. This year.
Patrick Graham I think switches up. I think he does both because Patrick Graham's one of those guys that always likes to switch things up all the time. So dude, I know we've been trying to do that.
Like that's why I'm not even really questioning the defense or the interior because I mean you got three solid players right there, and I think Chandler Jones. I know he had a little off year last year, but just look at the circumstances he was put in, and then like coming from Arizona. I feel like a lot of teams saw him go to the Raiders and were like, oh shit, we really got to have some type of game plan to not let this guy get sacks and get in the backfield. But I really like what the Raiders are doing. I know you're iffy on the coaching, but man, him and Jimmy G with connection again, man, it might change a little something for you guys. Like it might be something special.
That it's gonna be good.
I honestly can say as a Raiders fan that like even though we had so much hype going into last season, which obviously I was on the hype train, but I really do feel like this team is gonna be a lot more well rounded, and I feel like you're gonna see like teams not just have to, like us not have to put up 30 points like to win a game. I feel like.
And another underrated fact is Jimmy G is one of the most handsome men in the NFL.
Yeah, so. He's in Las Vegas. Come on.
You better not bring your girl around Jimmy G.
Yeah,
and also he be messing with a lot of those corn stars. Crazy. He's crazy.
I'm glad you're in Las Vegas, Jimmy.
Man, that's probably not the place for him to be. Oh my god.
Do we expect any kind of? I wish I would have asked this during the fantasy segment as well. Mm-hmm. Do we expect any kind of drop off in production for Davante Adams?
Oh, I kind of do, only because this is my only reasoning for it. Is a lot of like Devontae's big catches and like big point receptions was like him doing the long ball, like just being way downfield and Derek Carr throwing a bomb. And Jimmy G doesn't have quite the arm like that, but like I also feel like you're gonna see a lot more consistency and like because there was a lot of games last year where Derek Carr was playing like ass and Devontae Adams was getting like no points, but yeah, obviously he still ended with crazy stats because like every game he would go off, it was just a bunch of deep bombs that Derek Carr was throwing. So I am a little iffy on that, but with Jimmy G's arm. But other than that, like I think with all this weapon, I think you're gonna see his production go down a little bit because like you also remember like Hunter Renfrow was basically injured all of last season. Darren Waller basically didn't play all last season. So Devontae Adams had basically no reason not to cook because like I mean he was like definitely the number one weapon by far on that team.
And he played with his former college quarterback. So, but I really hope his production doesn't fall because I think by if it's all said and done, Devontae Adams keeps doing what he's doing. I don't think he's just going to be legitimately one of the best players in that era. He'd be legitimately one of the best wide receivers to ever play football.
And I don't mean like him like dropping down. Like I could never see Devontae Adams having less than like 1,200 yards, but I just don't know if he'll hit that 1,500 mark like he did last year again. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about the Chargers? What are your questions to them?
Okay. Man, the Chargers is like such a... It's like Chargers is one of those teams where it's like it's such a mystery, but you know what they're capable of. Mm-hmm. That's the scary thing about the Chargers. So obviously we're going to address the biggest elephant. Time management, Coach Staley, what is going to happen with that scenario? Is he going to improve? Is he going to accept the flaws that he made, especially against the Jaguars in that playoff game? Run the fucking football. Simple. But health with Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is 31 years old. He's obviously a vet. We're not really sure what's in store for this receiving core. I really like the addition of Quentin Johnson. I was actually very shocked that they picked him up. But at the end of the day, I kind of get the scenario they're going with. And obviously, when we talk about the defense, address the defense. I think this year will be a lot different. I think the whole secondary is going to stay healthy. I think J.C. Jackson's going to stay healthy and show exactly what he was when he was with New England. Derwin James, obviously, best safety in the league. Let's just be real now. D-line solid. Joey Bosa will still be the backbone of the defense. Not really sure they have at linebacker right now. I know they lost Tranquil or whatever his name was. He went to the Chiefs, but I'm really confident with the Chargers. And Eckler. Is Austin Eckler going to have the same season that he had last year? And we all want to question that because we understand the running back market is so shot right now in the NFL. And if Eckler were to do what he did last year, is he going to stay? So that's really what I have for the Chargers.
I feel like when it really comes down to it, like I feel like the only reason Chargers did make playoffs, like obviously Justin Herbert's a dog, not arguing that, but it was because of Austin Eckler. He definitely did score a lot of touchdowns. I feel like he was a reason they kept him in games. I really did feel like it was disrespectful of Brandon Staley or Staley.
Yeah.
I like how he coached that team. The time manager was awful. You never ever blow a 27-0 lead ever.
You just can't do that.
You just can't. It's so inexcusable.
I'm surprised they've even kept him around this long because, like, I even saw a report that like a lot of the NFL executives says he was something about him. I saw something about them basically dogging him.
I'm surprised you go up 27-0, blow it, and you don't get fired.
Exactly.
I'm shocked they kept him around.
With that defense they have too. Like, I mean, their defense is stacked. Like, to me, it's definitely I think it's the best secondary in the entire league. If on paper, it definitely is. Obviously, we have to see how they perform. But
Derwin James, if J.C. Jackson can stay healthy this
Sante
year,
Samuel,
there was a lot of buzz about the Chargers defense last year because of the additions they made.
That's why I picked them as number one, like an idiot last year, because I was really high on their defense.
The AFC West as a whole just made a lot of moves, and the Chiefs got worse. Everyone thought anyway, of course, but I think. I think for me, it's just like, will Justin Herbert be able to come out here? He's just got his bag. Is he going to come out here and show why he should be in a tier with Mahomes and Burrow and Josh Allen, be up there? Because I could see him being up there with those guys. Because I like Justin Herbert. I think he's a great quarterback. I think
IQ's out of the roof.
He's mature. Doesn't seem like he cares about other things. Just simply wants to go play football. I think Justin Herbert is the type of quarterback you want. It's just the success has not been there. Made the playoffs for the first time in his career last year. The 27-0, blown lead. Just got a sour taste in your mouth about Justin Herbert. So there's a lot of people that think Justin Herbert is overrated, which I mean I can understand because of the success is just the lack of success is just not there. Missed the playoffs the year before that because of maybe Staley calling a timeout when he shouldn't have. I don't know if the Raiders were going to call a timeout or not.
Yeah,
we'll never
that game
know.
was wild.
That was such a wild game.
I mean, we shouldn't even have been in that position in the first place, but
Herbert was battling injuries all
Yeah,
last year and still playing at a really high level. I understand he didn't win the playoff game, but that dude had like a punctured lung, messed up hand, just getting fucking banged around. And he's still standing in the pocket with composure and calmness and throwing darts. Like, that takes guts.
Especially, and even when he started his career, he wasn't even supposed to start game one. It was Tyrod Taylor and the medical staff
punctured his
lung. Maybe they did that Herbert too. It just clicked.
Who's paying him?
So, and he came in right away and just looked absolutely comfortable
just
immediately. Darting. I think Herbert. I think if there's moving on, pretty much, just lead right into our next segment. Who is going to win this division? And easily the obvious answer, it's going to be the Chiefs. And I'm probably still going to believe that is the case. But if you look at all three of these teams that could maybe dethrone the Chiefs, I think you can make a case. But it's really hard to make that case. If you were to choose one team, I mean, if I could combine Sean Payton on the Chargers as the coach there, I think you really have something special.
Yeah, good case for sure.
Great case.
Agree.
Brandon Staley is just someone I do not trust. I really hope he can figure it out this year with his time and clock management. It's just been absolutely atrocious. But I think the Chargers have the best chance at maybe dethroning the Chiefs of winning this division. But ultimately, it's going to come down to who can take out the Chiefs, and I'm not sure if I'm not sure if any of these teams can do it.
I'm rolling with Kansas City. I rolled with them last year. I don't think anything's changing. It's gonna take a lot of grit,
I'm curious to see what Dustin.
Everything for any of these three teams had to fall in perfect place if they want to win the AFC West.
Yeah,
let's just be 100%.
I think here is how I see it. I think the Chargers have the best chance. And then I would go Broncos having the next best chance if things work out. And then the Raiders. But I still like the Raiders' chances maybe. I mean, I think I like all three of those teams behind the Chiefs. I'm just not sure. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. But, Dustin, what do you believe on – this is your division. You're a Raiders fan obviously here. What do you think? Because last year you said the Chiefs would finish third in the division. That aged poorly. So what do you think this year?
I think I'm gonna roll with the same pick I did last year. I'm calling Chargers are gonna somehow win this division and dethrone the Chiefs for once. I'm gonna pick Chiefs at second, and then you're gonna see Raiders at third and Broncos at fourth. That's what I'm predicting.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
that's fair.
I want to make an argument, but I'm not gonna go into it with the Raiders. So I'm just kidding.
Go into the argument. We got time. Go for it.
We're the team that always puts up the best chances against the Chiefs, like every game in the AFC West. So I feel like if there's any team that's gonna be able to at least. Maybe not dethrone them from winning the division, but at least beat them a couple times. Yeah, I feel like it is the Raiders because, like, obviously our team is like obviously not quarterback play is not the same, but like I feel like how we play is the same. We always are just like offensive power, and then we just get cooked on defense, and then we have to do more offensive power. So I think that's it. Like that's one reason I picked the Raiders is just because like I feel like out of all those teams, like the Raiders are always the ones that pit up the biggest competition against the Chiefs usually.
Yeah, I'm not even. I think obviously when it comes to divisional games, it's a 50-50 usually, even no matter how good the team is, because divisions.
Unless you're the Broncos, because you get smoked by the whole division too much, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Hey, this year it's gonna be different, man. No, but I'm saying like divisional games are always close. They just are. Even when your team is like the worst in division, there's always sometimes where you get those upsets. They just happen. Like I remember. Years ago when we were starting Colt McCoy on Monday Night Football and we took down the Cowboys who still had 20 Romo. Stuff like that just happens all the time.
Okay, actually, I'll change my pick to the Raiders and I'll actually make an argument for this. The reason we didn't even make playoffs last year.
I'm talking about winning the division. So
yeah.
The Raiders win this division.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Raiders to win the division. Reason being is the only reason we didn't even make playoffs last year is because we couldn't close out games. We would have huge leads and we blow them. And that obviously ultimately comes down to like, that's why a lot of people I feel like blame Derek Carr because we blow big leads, but I feel like it wasn't his fault that we got put into those positions. It was our defense couldn't cover anybody. Dude, we would literally be up, and then all of a sudden you would just see some big crazy throw. Our defense couldn't cover shit, and the game was just chalked after that. Like I just got to the point where like we would be in a lead, and I would not feel safe at all. We'd have like a 17-0 lead, and I'd be like, this is not safe for the Raiders because our defense is just so bad.
So you got Raiders winning this division.
Yep, just because I think our secondary defense will step up, and I feel like honestly this year you can see it where you can see the Raiders actually holding teams down to like less than 20 points multiple times this season instead of just doing it every once in a blue moon, and then other than that, just getting 30 dropped on your head every time. So
I think I've already made this clear. The Chiefs, they're probably win the division. I think Mahomes, when his career is all said and done, I think there is a legitimate chance that he might be up there with Tom Brady for Super Bowl wins.
I think, yeah.
I don't know how long Andy Reid's gonna coach. If Andy Reid is able to coach throughout Mahomes' career, and I don't even know how old Andy Reid is at the top of my head. I'm pretty sure he's up there in age.
60 something.
Yeah,
sure.
70, maybe even 70. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if Mahomes is on this team, I think they have a chance every single year to go out there and win a Super Bowl.
So I got another question though. Okay, I feel like you're gonna see Patrick Mahomes has been obviously conquering these goals a lot earlier though. I feel like than you did see Tom Brady, because I can't remember when was Tom Brady's first Super Bowl.
He won his first Super Bowl in like 2001, his second year in the league.
Second year was his second year? Because that defense was stacked, wasn't it?
Don't ask me because I didn't watch football back then.
Obviously, I didn't. But
okay, let's just go ahead.
I just wanted to double check because I feel like because you've seen Patrick Mahomes do it like
Tom
crazy.
Brady filled in for Drew Bledsoe in like 01, 02. Let's just
First Super Bowl.
2001. Yep, it was his second year in the league.
So yeah, I mean, you can't really make that argument then because
I thought it was a lot later. When
Actually, he
was
was drafted in 2000. It was his second year in the league. Second year in the league.
I honestly thought it was later than that.
Nope, he won. Yeah.
I didn't think it was far after when he got drafted. I just didn't think it was like right after.
That man won one, and then like ever since then, he's just a fucking monster,
He
bro.
is,
Yeah, I hate when people say that he's not the GOAT because there's literally
He's
just
the
no
GOAT.
argument.
He's literally back there. You can't see him right now, but I have him back there for a reason. He is.
Yeah, he's literally right there next to the
GOAT.
Derrick Henry.
And I got Derrick King Henry there as well.
He's falling off though, but we're gonna talk about him.
We'll talk about him when we get to AFC East, which I think will be the next
episode. Literally,
AFC East,
AFC
South.
East or South.
South.
AFC South.
Unfortunately, we didn't do any fantasy picks or anything like that of the AFC
East when we did
East.
it, we weren't doing that format yet.
But I mean, obviously, there's a lot of obvious picks that you guys could choose there.
Yeah,
so
we know.
We'll
know the
get
obvious
into
suspects.
some more once we go further.
Suspects.
But
I was going way over my fucking.
Chiefs win the division.
Chiefs do win the division.
I was just talking about the Raiders, but I am going to choose the Chargers over Chiefs if I had to right now. But the Raiders sneaky pick.
All right, man. I think that's going to do it for us this week. Unless
Yep.
you guys got anything else to add to the mix.
Nope, we're going to talk about the boring division next week. Just kidding. Well, we can talk about Trevor Lawrence dominating it, but...
You don't believe in Will Levis coming in? Just kidding. Don't answer that. That's for next
We got two rookie quarterbacks talking about next.
What are we doing? That's for next episode. Thank you guys for watching. As always, hope y'all enjoyed it. This is In the Slant. We're saying peace.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and click here to subscribe and, of course, to watch some more.